3 Pacific Challenges in Rugby World Cup, the Maori Haka, the Moa from Manu Samoa, and the Sipitau. We're looking at the Scottish team, and they've made all up 8 changes from the team which thumped Ivory Coast, including 5 in the forwards. And they've chosen this team especially for the type of physical encounter they're expecting. They've brought in Scott Hastings and Ian Jardine in the midfield to the tough tacklers there. And Derek Patterson, the halfback, is a much sturdier player than Redpath. So they've brought in a tough team to meet these players. 3 changes in the Tongan team, all enforced. Fia Vunipola, number 2, is in as hooker in place of Falolisi Masila. Pauvalu Latukefu comes in for Falamani Mafi, and Inoki Apiaki is in for the the suspended Faleti Mahoney. There are the reserves for the 2 teams. Cameron Glasgow, the 29-year-old, yet to win a cap. He'll be desperately hoping that he can get on in some way, shape or form at the Rugby World Cup. So all is in readiness. And a pretty good crowd in attendance here at Loftus Versfeld. Waiting for the time to tick over. Tonight's referee is the 42-year-old Australian Barry Leask from Sydney. He's the leading referee in Australia. He's the number 1 man there. The touch judges today will be Wayne Erickson and Nobi Saito from Japan. There's the kickoff, and straight away Scotland in the blue have possession through Doddy Weir, and Patterson gets it away to Craig Chalmers. Here's the first one way up high, but the whistle's gone from referee Leask from Australia, and it looks like an early penalty just seconds into the game. Here's Ian Morrison. He may have been obstructed trying to get through onto the Tongan catches, and within just a matter of 10 seconds there's an early chance for Gavin Hastings to put points on the board. Here's former All Black captain Jock Holmes.
Well, a very good beginning from Scotland, an outstanding take from Weir from the kickoff, which allowed Chalmers to put this in the air, but a late tackle we can see there from Fenukitau, and therefore Scotland has this opportunity to put points on the board.
Gavin Hastings sends it through. You don't give Gavin Hastings a second chance, and Scotland are in the lead after less than a minute's play.
I'm sure the Tongans will be highly charged again, but they must make sure in the early moments of this game that they keep their discipline. With Gavin Hastings, they'll lose points quickly.
Well, there's Mana Otai getting a similar good fortune from the kickoff going the other direction, but I think he's put his foot just into touch. Tonga are desperately hoping that this game can work out for them. Fia Vunipola, Willie Losay playing at lock, remember, right at the back there. You see Inoki Apiaki, the very tall fellow, right at the back, number 6. Gone towards Apiaki. He's marking Wainwright.
Lineouts will be a big challenge for the Tongan team. They are much shorter throughout the lineout. Scotland are much bigger, so they're going to have to use variations in the lineout in order to achieve ball from that sector.
What about at scrum time? Jock, how's that pan out?
Pretty similar weights, I think. Possibly Tonga have an advantage in the front row.
2 halfbacks. To the left is Manu Vunipola. To the right, number 9, is Derek Patterson. And the usual tussle in the first scrum for physical ascendancy. Fuka is on the near side, and the Tongan front row was free kicked, and Chalmers from behind the 22 puts in the big thump. Craig Chalmers from the Melrose Club is 44th international for Scotland tonight. Well, as a race of people, Tongans are not particularly tall, but they have 1 or 2 tall ones in here tonight. Pauvalu Latukefu is number 5, and Inoki Apiaki is number 6. There is Wainwright going down. He's number 6 for Scotland. Tuipulotu, the most accomplished fullback. And we welcome our big audience to the telecast tonight from New Zealand, from the Pacific, including Tonga. There is no live television in Tonga, so the videotapes are flown there as soon as they can be. Damien Cronin going high, number 4. Also tonight we welcome viewers in Malaysia, in Canada and in the United States. Derek Patterson is there. You can see he's a noisy, typical halfback. Plays down in England now. And he's trying to wrench the ball clear and gets tangled up in it. So Kenneth Milne may go in and play scrum half. No, looks like it's Craig Joyner, number 14. And this is all designed for physical ascendancy in the forwards. And it's locked up tight. The Tongan team have accepted the decision about Feleti Mahoney. They insist that in the previous game on this ground, he didn't kick a French player. And that appears to be backed by the video evidence. But true to the very well-mannered people that Tongans are, they will not appeal or protest and said they're going to use the absence of Feleti Mahoney as the inspiration for their game tonight. And here's the referee free-kicking Scotland for a collapse that time at front row. And so in go the Tongan team. They're not going to replace Mahoney. They're going to play the rest of the tournament with 25 players only. Kenny Logan waits, a very accomplished winger for Scotland. Wainwright. Patterson well picked up. And a fumble there by Tuipulotu. And the referee has signalled a penalty. There's the indication for the shot at goal. It'll be for the late charge against Patterson by Unuoi Vaianuku, the centre three-quarter.
Which is the second offence of the same kind from the Tongan team.
Well, Gavin Hastings had 44 points in the previous game, and with 64 also for the Lions, he's gone up to 671 points in all test matches, and that means he's gone past Grant Fox and is now second on the all-time world point scoring list behind Michael Lynagh. Six minutes gone. Scotland 6, Tonga 0. Tonga paying for 2 late tackles in the first 6 minutes. So those first 2 lapses are unfortunate for Tonga. Bovalo Latukefu, his 7th test match. He plays in Australia at the Canberra Royals Club. So David Hilton on the near side, Kenneth Milne, Peters, Patterson, Chalmers. It's a careful game by Scotland early on. Tuipulotu.
Discipline and concentration are just so important at this level, and we've seen the Tongan team come out and make 2 late tackles, 6 points against them, then going back on the last play, kicking into touch on the full. Cannot afford to make those sort of mistakes at this level.
Well done, Weir, Patterson, Chalmers. Jardine is taking it up now. Ian Jardine, the big sturdy crash ball man at second 5/8 or inside centre. And a bit of a tussle in here. But another mistake made by Tonga. Willie Losay and Cronin involved here. And also Mana Otai. Well, Mana Otai questioning the referee's decision there, but there was a threat of going up 10 metres if he didn't move back from referee Leask of Australia. Offside.
Yes, the penalty was for offside at ruck time. They're going to really have to compete at second phase, Tonga, because particularly from lineouts they are going to struggle for ball. That is already evident.
Well, more than ever, this man is an inspirational figure for Scottish rugby. Certainly he makes mistakes in just about every game, but when Gavin Hastings fires up, Scotland fires up. Here he is trying to put them 9 points out in the first 10 minutes. So Tonga are paying dearly for early indiscretions here in Pretoria. 9-0. Scotland lead 3 penalty goals by Gavin Hastings. Douglas Morgan, the Scottish coach, who says he's going to quit at the end of the Rugby World Cup. This is taken by Eric Peters, 22-metre line, hit hard by Enoki Awhiaki. And as usual, the steady boot of Craig Chalmers.
Not surprising. Tonga have called a short line out already. They'll need to use plenty of variation at line out time, putting it in quickly, moving people up and down the line, using short line outs.
Losai and Latukefu against the two Scottish locks, and that's Ippolito Fenukitau, number 7. Losai. Morrison dragged the ball out of his arms, but here it is back to the Vunipola brothers. 1, 2, 3 of the ball handling there. And Joyner gets hit hard by Tavita Vaianuku. Fiau Vunipola. Willie Losai, behind him Mana Otai. Fenukitau tapped onto the Tongan side. It's gone to Scotland there, but a knock on. So here's another test for scrum time. The Tongan front row, Tuakalau Fukafuka, Fiau Vunipola and Saili Fiau. And that's Fukafuka on the side. And look, a little bit of dew perhaps on the ball there. It wouldn't have popped out that way by a mishandle from Otai, so they'll have to be careful about that. Ian Morrison, Derek Patterson. Pretty even, all right, in the scrums. Scottish front row, David Hilton, Peter Wright and Kenny Moore. There's Fenukitau going down on the open side flanker. Patterson. Chalmers.
As we've seen, the weights are similar between the two packs, so at scrum time it'll simply be a question of commitment and technique.
Again, Tonga dropping players off. Scotland seem to have a 3-2 there. Pitched deep to the back. Penieli Latu. Good tackle by Eric Peters. Vunipola to Piloto, Alaska Taufa. Fenukitau, try! popular try to Ippolito Fenukitau. A lucky one in some respects because the ball spun out of Alaska Taufa's hands, but it didn't go forward.
Well, the try comes from a line-out variation over the back. It comes out through the back line to Alaska Taufa, who straightens up the attack, but it pops out from his elbow. Fenukitau, who's such a good loose forward, right on hand to take advantage of it.
Manu Vunipola straight out to Unuoi Vainuku, Sateki Tuipilotu up. Taufa lost it over his shoulder. It didn't go forward, and Fenukitau showing what a good number 7 he is, being right on the button to take the pass, or to take the deflection and get the try. Well, Scotland 9 up, but Tonga score the first try. Interesting.
Well, I'm sure it will be the theme this evening of the Tongan side to use plenty of variations at line-out time, scrum time, and also kickoffs. Try and move the Scottish pack around the field. And here was a perfect example of it, using a variation at line-out time. Taufa coming in to straighten up the attack. Fenukitau, as we've already said, such a good loose forward.
The kickoff is down at the 22, and Taufa has the ball again, Alaska Taufa. But they're offside beyond the last man's foot. Here's Manu Vunipola. Before this World Cup series, he was the only World Cup veteran still playing in Tonga. But now, of course, all of them experienced that World Cup play, and I guess that will help a little because they might have been a bit nervous against France. But after a nervous and indisciplined start here, they're into this with that early try. Deflected by Losa. Offside play by Peter Wright, and he's gone down. He might have pulled a hammy, is it? What are they looking at? A knee, perhaps. Peter Wright, the big ex-British Isles forward.
Props don't have hamstrings, Keith.
No, they don't have necks either. Deep kick, Hastings. Well, Gavin Hastings says it's always important. He speaks modestly. He says it's always important to the team if he takes the first few high kicks that come to him or makes the early tackles, because he has felt the confidence come from his performance through the rest of the team. Away goes Wainwright, number 6. Patterson, his West Hartlepool clubmate. Taufa waiting with Kenny Logan. Fenukitau taps it down to Awhiaki. Awhiaki, number 6. Fuka to Alisi. It's on the Tongan side of halfway. Oh, and there's Cronin. Oh, Cronin getting knocked down by Alaska Taufa, I think it was, and that'll be trouble. A big forearm jolt across the face. Alaska Taufa in trouble. That was a forearm jolt right across the face of Cronin. Even though he was offside, the referee points out that you don't take the law into your own hands. So that is further ill discipline by Tonga. Here's number 14, watch him there. Just a forearm jolt across the chest and neck region by Taufa. And the referee is onto him. A chance for Scotland to increase their lead. The way he started here, Hastings could threaten a 700-point mark tonight. So sad that Tonga are so competitive around the field, but not when they make mistakes like that, which cost them points. Hastings penalises them again. 19 minutes gone, 4 penalties to Gavin Hastings. Tuipulotu. David Hilton is number 1.
We're seeing a very different game plan from Scotland. They'll be looking for good quality possession from first phase. Use Patterson to put it in the air, or Chalmers, or use Jardine to bring it forward in the midfield to set up second phase play. A far more conservative approach than the Tongans.
Alisi Vunipola. Fuka. That's halfway. Well, he was the star of the team in the first game against France, Alisi Vunipola. Eric Peters controls. Tavita Vaianuku. Patterson. Chalmers. Another high test for Tuipulotu. Well, that's against the players who are taking him out. Scott Hastings and Jardine coming through.
Well, it looks as if the Scots are going to kick this ball to death.
Yes, the statistics wouldn't show too many passing plays by Chalmers so far, as Tuipulotu got interfered with there before he was allowed to make the catch. And a clearance to touch now from Alisi. So it's Tuipulotu, in fact, who makes the kick, skies it badly to midfield. Derek Patterson, just his second cap. Rob Wainwright. Ian Morrison. Cronin. Fast hands to Scott Hastings. Knock on by Peter Wright. At the quarter mark, 12 points to 5. Scotland have 4 penalty goals. Tonga have a try. Kenny Logan waits. Hastings got it. Afiaki got him. Jaffa thrown out of it by Logan. It's a tough physical game we're watching tonight, folks. Patterson. Chalmers is going to kick it again. This is the short little one. Scott Hastings is through. Trying to hook it back towards his side. Otai. Saili Fiao getting his body between the ball and the opposition. But it really was an unsightly pile up there.
Well, if Tonga are going to win this game by playing an expansive game, they'll need to get that sort of 50-50 ball. They'll need to be a lot more accurate, a lot more disciplined than they are so far in this game, because they'll need to get the second and third phase ball. And to do that, they can't afford mistakes, dropping balls. They need to be accurate with what they do.
Referee's calling the crouches there tonight, as you can see and possibly hear. 2 little halfbacks there. Now in pass to Ian Morrison. The open side are caught there by Afiaki. And that's against Craig Chalmers for not staying on his feet. Taken by Otai. Lovely run by Unuai Vaianuku. Elisi. Alaska Taufa. This is where Tonga are at their best. Latu Kefu. There's the goal line. Latu, Tuipolotu, Alisi, and Okiafiaki. Oh, the Scots are into this too. Some tough tackling. And Tavita Vaianuku did not release. The crowd aren't happy. And some hard hits.
Well, this is when Tonga are at their best. Ball in hand, running hard, running straight, retaining the ball, supporting each other. But again, the referees are being very, very strict at ruck time that the players stay up on their feet. They've been very strict throughout this tournament, and it's good to see because it makes for better, more interesting rugby.
Tough collision there on Craig Joyner, and there's Scott Hastings going down. And it's Scott Hastings who's the slower to get up. Couple of Scots down, in fact. Another one over to the right. Chalmers with the clearance. Well, he lacks a bit of pace around the field, Craig Chalmers, but there's no question he's a consummate artist, if you like, when he kicks the ball. Kenneth Milne from the Herets FP. Dottie Weir. And that was Weir that got the jump, but it wasn't straight. Right down the line. Peter Wright on the far side. On the tight head side. Hilton is the loose head. The two Vunipola brothers. Alicia's kicked for Tavita Vaianuku, but he was ahead of the kick. Anyway, the free kick is awarded for the fair catch.
Really a change of tactic there from the Tongan side. I would much prefer to see them with the ball in hand, running hard, running straight. That's when they are able to put Scotland under pressure. It's the game that they enjoy. It's the game that they play well.
Yeah, good point, Jock. They've got to keep it in hand and run hard. Here they go again. Elisi, Latu, and they've kicked it away again. But let's see what happens to the chase. It's a good gain of territory from Peniali Latu, the 22-year-old. The crowd are enjoying this here.
A good gain in ground terms, but it's a line out with Scotland throwing it in. Difficult for Tonga.
They have this man, their biggest, Pauvalo Latukefu. But there is Cronin, who's back from that arm injury he suffered against France in Paris. He lives in France, plays for the Bourges club, and he had an elbow ligament injury that kept him out for the rest of the season. Chalmers. Well, there you go. That's what happens, Jock, eh? If you kick it away, people like Chalmers can get the control and kick it back.
Yes, it's all very well to kick for position, but in doing so, of course, you're giving the line out to Scotland. They have a definite advantage there. I would much prefer to see them with the ball in hand, taking it forward and putting Scotland under pressure in that sort of way.
Good hit by Otai, counter-attack, but they've kicked it again. Peniali Latu. I heard some rather salty language directed the referee then with a Scottish accent. I think they felt that it should have been a stoppage there. And the referee has just suggested to one of the Scottish players that if he hears any more of that kind of language, he'll go for the long walk. Referee Granita's Barry Leask. So there they are, fanning out of the line out again for Tonga to have a short throw in. Fiao Vunipola looking out for instructions. Willie Losay in the front. And Wainwright came in, got it. George Wilson Weir. Patterson. Chalmers decided to have a run. He got through more than he should have. And there is Patterson taking an uncomfortable blow. Hastings kicking through. Tuipulotu. Well, the Scots are giving as good as they're getting in the tough physical exchanges. Fenukitau, who scored the game's only try, but they've rolled him the other way, the wrong way for Tonga, and it'll come for Patterson. Chalmers, he's kicked it, I think, every time he's had it. Jardine is through on Tuipulotu, and well deflected Jardine, but it's gone to Inoki. Manu Vulipola. That's his brother Fia. 3 brothers on the field, another 2 brothers, remember, in the family have also played for Tonga at rugby. Hands in the ruck. Well, the referee's getting a roasting from the crowd, who are obviously favouring the underdogs, but that seems another fair call by referee Leask, and more points possibly coming up for Scotland.
These penalties are costing Tonga very, very dearly. The referee picking up a hand in this ruck. Difficult to see from those pictures, but the referee ruling that a Tongan hand was a ruck situation, not able to do that. And again, Gavin Hastings has the opportunity of putting more points for Scotland. This game really hasn't got into any sort of rhythm at the moment. There's been a lot of off-the-ball sort of action. Scotland looking to kick almost every time they get the ball, and really Tonga not getting enough ball at the moment.
Hastings, and through it goes. 5 penalties for the big fullback. Inside the last 10 minutes of the first half, and 5 penalty goals to Gavin Hastings. My word, he's piled on some points in the last season. Gavin Hastings had a record 56 points for Scotland in the 5 Nations Championship. Now the Tongans have compounded their problems by getting in front of the kickoff. It's all gone wrong for the lack of focus at key parts of the game.
Well, as I said at the start of the game, Tonga played extremely well in their first game against France because there was plenty of commitment, plenty of thought and skill. But they haven't yet been able to duplicate that here in this game.
Peters to Patterson. It's a fumbling ball and a knock on by Tuipulotu. The Tongans aren't happy. They say it didn't go forward.
It's very important that they retain their composure, their discipline. Manaaito really needs to pull them together to get back the concentration, get back the intensity, get back the thought. Otherwise, they're going to get shut out of this game. The big question was whether they were going to be able to. So shortly after that big effort against France, do it again.
I think that free kick there was for the Tongan halfback, not letting the referee get in to police the front row. So that's an odd one. It's coming for Patterson now. Chalmers passes at last. Logan, number 11. 12 metres out.
Steady. It's off.
Saili Fiao is the injured player for Tonga. Here is Eric Peters, Glasgow born, but until he was 25 he played all his rugby in England. Then he declared that he was going to play for Scotland, and so he is. Here's Chalmers. He passed it to Logan, who's a very good finisher, Kenny Logan. He got hit in a good tackle and let it go, but perhaps a little too soon, and so it became a 50-50 ball when it should have been made certain for his side. So the last one up will be Eric Peters there, number 8. Fiau is slowly in. See the woman coming on for Tonga. That's Leslie Alo Akawolo, the physiotherapist. And look how low they are. It can hardly stay up, but Vunipola gets a kick in. And Peter Wright and Fiau Vunipola eyeballing each other. Wainwright going high, but hooked on the Tongan side. Otai, 15 points to 5. Half-time approaching. Doddy Weir, 29th cap. Well thrown from Milne to Weir. And this is good ball for the Scottish pack to get around and really move well. Tonga looking a bit ragged here. Patterson, very tough, aggressive player. Otai took him down. Referee hasn't called that one as a late one. This is Scotland's best period of attack in the game. Rob Wainwright. What the hell's going on the front there, Jock? What's that all about?
Confusing me.
That's good. Well, of course, props are always confused, aren't they? Well taken by Losay. The loose forward has been turned into a lock for the World Cup.
Just a planned move from the front row, I think, Keith.
A decoy move, was it? Running interference. Saili Fiau. Good work by Wainwright. Weir kicked away by Tonga. Chalmers has lost it. Patterson off to Jardine. Scott Hastings has lost it. Advantage applying.
Willie Losay just put in a tackle that just about nearly carved a Scotsman in half.
Tough man, Willie. We had a message from the East Coast Bays Club in Auckland to mention that Losay is from the club. The whistle's gone here as Otai breaks away. And there was obstruction there by other members of the loose forward. Inoki, perhaps. We'll have to have a look at the replay there. Otai is having it explained to him. The shot at goal is coming up again from Gavin Hastings. 14 degrees tonight in Pretoria. Rugby World Cup, Pool D, Tonga against Scotland. Gavin Hastings, 5 penalties already. Goodness, the world record's 8. If he gets this one, that'll be 6. South African flags waving. Their team scored their second victory today, but it was not impressive. Tonga pay dearly again. 6 penalties for Hastings, 18-5. Here's the move. See how Well, I don't understand that one on the second look at all, Jock.
I think you wouldn't on the third and fourth look as well. I think Tonga were very, very unlucky.
Just the fact that he passed behind him, perhaps, I don't know.
Yeah, but the man in front wasn't obstructing anybody. It was just free area, free space. There's no advantage there for Tonga at all. I think they were very, very hard done by.
Fiau Vunipola to the 22. Morrison.
Gee, these rucks have been messy, haven't they? People lying all over the place. Well over the ball.
There is a lot of complaining and talking to the referee. Language that would make a sailor blush. And referee Leask has had enough, I think. He's going to have a chat with Mana Otai.
So important to prevent these pile-ups by making sure that the initial ball carrier has good body position, and then that his supports are there quickly to clear the ball away, and that players are made to stand up on their feet. It's vital for Tonga. They need plenty of that ball.
Very close to half-time, 18-5 to Scotland. Another scrum collapses. Well, not much to say about Craig Chalmers in the first half. He just made one pass, and that was close to the line. The rest of the time he's kicked for position.
I'm sure they'll be just quite happy to go from set piece to set piece, put the ball in the air and put the Tongans under pressure that way, and just look through some points, most probably through Gavin Hastings.
Well ripped by Peters, but the referee has awarded a penalty for players coming in on the side, but it was very well ripped away by Eric Peters. So they might have a shot at goal to close that gap. There's the distance. It's handy enough for Tuipulotu. Have a look at Peters here, number 8. He does a good ripping job here underneath.
Yeah, but is he entitled to? Isn't the ball there on the ground? It's a ruck situation. He shouldn't have his hands there. It's getting very, very messy in this phase.
A murky area of the rule book.
Very dark, but it suits Scotland, but it doesn't suit Tonga, because they need that ball, because they want to run the Scottish side around the paddock.
A change in goal kicker. Elisi Vunipola has come into the kicking. Tuipulotu's been off form for the World Cup series. So the young man, 23 next week. But they are not strong in goal kicking. And Gavin Hastings touches it down. Must be very close to the half-time break. It is half-time. 6 penalties by Gavin Hastings. 6 out of 6 to a try. And Scotland in the lead by 18-5 over Tonga at half-time here at Loftus Versfeld. Rugby World Cup action from Loftus Versfeld in Pretoria. We're about to see the second half of Ikalitahi, the Sea Eagles of Tonga, against Scotland. And at half-time, Scotland lead by 18 points to 5. 6 penalties out of 6 attempts for Gavin Hastings to 1 try by Fenukitau for Tonga. And certainly the crowd here have enjoyed it tonight as the attendants leave the field and the second half about to begin. So can the Tongans settle in and play more disciplined football in the second half? Because I'm sure they'll be very disappointed to have conceded so many penalties. Although that last one that Hastings converted into points did seem to be perhaps a mistake on the part of the referee. Take the full 5 minutes for the half-time break at World Cup games. And there is referee Barry Leask from Australia, who begins the second half. And again, a good take from the kick-off by Doddy Weir. Remember, at the start of the game, he charged through and caught the Tongans kick-off. And Scotland's pack has worked pretty well in a tough and physical encounter. Not much running enterprise from both backlines. Tuipulotu, who's been taken off the goal kicking and has had a rather unhappy time because of that, takes it across the touchline. Former All Black captain Jock Hobbs, what are you hoping for in the second 40?
Well, we saw through the half-time break Tonga in a close huddle. I'm sure they were just reminding themselves of their game plan, reminding themselves that they need to concentrate more, they need to cut out their ill discipline, they need to cut out the number of mistakes that they were making, which was really putting them at a disadvantage in the first half. Just try and lift up the intensity and lift up the concentration.
Another one up into the ozone layer from Craig Chalmers. Latu has it. 22-metre line to the right. What about the Scottish team, Chuck? They're, I suppose, in their point production, they'll be looking to have the satisfaction of scoring a try.
Well, I'm sure they're probably pretty happy just to continue on the same sort of way as they did in the first half. Just move from set piece to set piece. They'll kick a lot through Patterson and Chalmers. Really just look for good field positions and then take advantage of any Tongan mistake. It'll be pretty sort of conservative stuff from them, I would expect.
He's having a good game as Doddy Weir. That's him with the headband and the blonde hair, number 5. And he's got Scotland away to a great start in the second half. Chalmers, he made a pass to Ian Morrison, the open side flanker from the London Scottish club.
A pass on the inside, Keith.
Yeah, he didn't let it out, did he? Patterson, Joyner. Dangerous tackle there against Craig Joyner. Buried him on his head by Fiao Vunipola.
As I said, this suits the Scottish side. They'll just look for this sort of field position. Just simply try and retain the ball, not be too adventurous with it, and look for a mistake from the Tongan side.
Craig Joyner from Melrose. See how he gets tipped up here by the defenders? They turn him up. These are very dangerous tackles, these spear tackles. And he was dumped on his shoulder. And the referee called it a dangerous tackle.
I think you'll find it's just for the high tackle just now by Manu Vunipola.
Some heavy work coming in from the Tongans at both ends, as it were. Jock, what's the chance of Gavin Hastings setting a world record for penalty goals? Because he's got 6 so far. He's got 6 out of 6. This one's handy, that's 7. The world record's 8.
Well, if the Tongans continue to infringe at the rate they have been in this game, he's got every chance, hasn't he?
And if he gets that world record number of points, he might pass 700 points in Test football tonight. He started the game at 671. They pay again. Tonga, 21 points to 5, 7 penalty goals for the big Scottish fullback.
An interesting factor is that Scotland may well win this game playing this sort of tactic, but can they win the World Cup doing that? I suspect not.
The next game for Scotland is against France, and the next game for Tonga is against Ivory Coast. So Tonga really want the win here to confirm themselves in the quarterfinals, but they're not going to get it playing the way they are. Far too many penalties given away. Eric Peters there. He's a tough customer, this guy, number 8. He's the guy that trains with Frank Bruner. Takes some of the hard physical work that the big-time heavyweight boxer puts in. Down in the foreground, you see Craig Joyner coming across. Chemical engineering student, the youngest member of the team. He got a knock. And these young men from Ireland were at the stadium the other day backing Ireland against the All Blacks, so they've come down to see Scotland play tonight. And Tonga too, I suppose. Alisi. Latu. Good tackle by Peters. Fuka, number 3. Manu Vunipola. Alisi. Trying to pass the ball. Well, we reckon up here that's the best tactic for the Tongans. Latu puts a little stab kick in. Hastings, like a centre forward, shooting for goal. High kicks it across the touchline.
Interesting again, though, with Tonga looking a bit of a threat, but then rather than keeping the ball in hand and looking to take the ball forward, which they're so good at, a chip kick, giving the possession away.
Tongans have had real trouble at line-out time on their own throw. They lack height and experience as jumpers. Lose there, but he got up for that one, but was lifted. Patterson's going to take the tap, is he? Or Scotland will just play steady. That's the way they've played it all night. Chalmers to touch. The only try scorer tonight, Fenukitau. Deep right over the back. Fenukitau tapped it. A loose one. That's Alisi. Oh, some hard footwork there by Fia Vunipola on Milne. Tough stuff. One sort of senses that this could explode. Touch judge's flag is out. Touch judge has his flag out. It'll be for that rucking. Latu. Afiaki. Counter-attack. Patterson. He's been brought in for his tougher approach than Redpath, and it's worked for Scotland. And I've had the feeling that this could boil over. Touch judge is going to come into the game. There's trouble afoot. I think both touch judges had their flags out at one stage. Here's Willie Lose, who's down. 2 Tongans are down. Japanese touch judge Nobi Saito is reporting to Barry Leask. And here's what it'll be about. A bit of footwork on Milne. And it's the 2 number 2s involved. And they're all coming back over. And Fia Vunipola, I think, is going to be spoken to by the referee. Mana Otai, his team has already had 1 man dismissed for sending off. Well, the referee said stamping against his legs. I think there might be a bit of a language problem between the touch judge and the referee, because quite obviously it was up around the shoulders. There it is again for us to see. Kenneth Milne, the veteran Scottish hooker, on the receiving end. And there's Hastings driving them back. A very good kick indeed. Craig Chalmers, it was, in fact. Well, let's hope it doesn't boil over, but certainly it's bubbling under at the moment. Rob Wainwright. Fenukitau. 21 points to 5. Scotland lead. Good work by Weir. 10 minutes gone, second half. Wainwright joins again. I must say Scotland have not shirked from the hard physical action. That's Morrison. I think we're going to see a world record penalty goals tonight, and in many ways that'll be a bit sad because it's not something you want to celebrate. But that was for joining from the side, I think, Jock.
Well, we've just seen so many mistakes by the Tongans in their own quarter, and that is giving Gavin Hastings the opportunity for this world record. I just sense that the Tongans are just not concentrating on what's required. They just seem to be occupied with off-the-ball sort of incidents, getting a little bit frustrated. We've seen in that last ruck, they know that they need that sort of ball desperately. They're getting a little bit frustrated by the Scottish lying across the ball and preventing it from being released. We see there that, what do we see, Keith?
That's confusing, that one to me, Jock. Let's see what the result is. 7 out of 7. And a free kick is taken as the ball bounces off the post by Willie Losay.
Again, I'm sure that Scotland will look to put this ball in, get their big man up in the air, set up another maul and just shunt it forward.
He's had a good game, has Dottie Weir, Ken Milne, David Hilton, number 1. The Bristol Butcher. Now is it coming for Patterson? Chalmers. Gavin Hastings in. Wainwright with him. Centre field. Patterson. Chalmers. Hastings. Joyner. There's the goal line ahead. They're going to try and pile drive it in.
Be very interesting to see what Scotland do at this scrum. Will they just look to try and shunt it across, or just use their loose forwards and play it very, very close? I suspect they will.
Scrum half Patterson is down, coming back slowly. Both the halfbacks, in fact. Manu Vunipola, the highest number of caps in the Tongan team. Well, Scotland have not stood back from the heavy stuff up front, have they?
Well, they've never been known to. They are a physical side. They've always been a little bit similar in that respect to the All Blacks. They're always prepared to give their fair share and get stuck in, so that's nothing surprising in that. I'm a little surprised, though, by the fact that they've taken the conservative type of game that they're playing to the extent that they have.
See that, Jock? 8 attempts at goal from 10 penalties awarded. So Tonga have conceded a lot within kicking range. 7 goals, of course. So a good position for Scotland. They haven't scored a try yet. They only have 7 penalty goals. A long way to go in the game. 25 minutes left. That signal by the referee indicates the scrum has turned around past 90 degrees, and so they reset again. Well, they've been a shambles and collapsing right throughout the game. Good effort by Tonga at scrum time. But it's on the Scottish side. The ball hit the deck and was guided away with the hand. You see referee Leask signal, and another shot at goal coming up for Gavin Hastings. Well, the referee looks a bit brassed off about the whole thing as well.
Well, we've just seen it so often, haven't we? In that 50-50 ruck type situation, the ball here going to ground, we'll just look for a hand. Yes, picked up by the referee, just cannot afford to do that. The Tongans need to get bound low and just simply drive over the top. Concentration again, letting the Tongan team down.
So it's probably not one to shout about, but that's a world record equal. 8 penalty goals in a test match. Hastings takes Scotland out to 24 points to 5. Well, his previous game he got 44 points, which was a Rugby World Cup record for most points in a game. That included 4 tries. All kicks so far. Scotland will want to score a try to boost their confidence going into the game against France. A tough game, a bruising game here at Loftus Versfeld. Morrison, number 7. Patterson, he played in the test against the Springboks last December, and they got thrashed and was dumped. And this is his second cap. Been giving Chalmers a good ride all night. A replacement on the field. Nafe Tufui is on as scrum half. He's quite an accomplished player as well. He's had 11 appearances for Tonga. So nobody wants to throw in here at the moment.
Scottish forwards have provided the platform for this effort from Scotland. They're very, very good at line-out time. They have a very tall line-out. They're solid in the scrums, and they're very good at kickoffs. So they are securing good ball for Patterson, and he's delivering it well to Chalmers.
Patterson hooked that kick around. Tufui. Morrison, number 7. Ken Milne. Peters, number 8. Chalmers. Tuipulotu. Buried by Scott Hastings. And it's across the touchline. Well, the crunch in this game has really got the crowd going. Milne to throw. Cronin palms it down. Patterson off the floor. Chalmers, a good little run. Knock on.
Just starting to get the feeling that the sting is going out of the Tongan effort. Scotland is just getting so much ball.
"24 points to 5. Tufui. Weir has had an armchair ride. Milne. Morrison, that's an unusual one. 2 passes at line-out time to midfield. Now they have the ruck. Patterson. Chalmers. Jardine. Oh, a hammer hit on him. Joyner. Excellent tackle by Tuipulotu. Cronin. They're on their feet and mauling well. There's the goal line, and Peters is in. Eric Peters scored that marvellous try after the 75-metre run in the game against Wales in the Five Nations. That time he took the short route for his second try for Scotland.
One of the few occasions tonight where Scotland have looked to move the ball, but they're just getting so much ball. Joyner sees the ball for one of the first occasions tonight. Good tackling from the Tongans. Tuipulotu makes a good tackle, but the Scottish forwards get there very, very quickly. Cronin doing extremely well for a lock. Peters is also there early. They just steady it up. They get it. The maul set well. Good body positions. Just too much weight, too much power, and Peters is across.
Gavin Hastings, 8 penalty goals, now a conversion attempt. And effectively that's his first miss, because the only penalty, remember, that didn't go over hit the post and deflected away. 29-5, 1 try each, 8 penalties to Hastings. It was good work by Cronin here to keep the ball in play, and then Peters drove around off the back of the maul and was assisted across.
Yes, Cronin can take a lot of credit for that try. He supported Joyner very, very well, got there quickly, lifted the ball up off the ground and allowed his forwards to get there in numbers and keep the ball up for Peters to crash over.
It's a fiery Scottish forward pack. Remember, this is the team that had 9 losses in a row up until January this year in test matches. Now they're heading for 7 wins out of 8. Chalmers, they're trying to hammer home this advantage now. As Jock Hobbs said to us, the sting's gone out of the Tongans now, and the Scots are all over them. Patterson, who's had a very good game. Unoi Vainuku back. Goal line right there. Elisi Vunipolo. Patterson's going to get it. No, it was a mess, a tangle, a jungle.
The Tongans are really just trying to hang on in here at the moment. They're not getting any ball. They're not really making any impact in the game at all in terms of their own tactics, because they're not getting any ball. They're just having to make the tackles and just try and hang on there.
So they've got to wait till the full front row is formed, with the prop Sa'ili Fiao injured and off the sideline. So 2 players prominent in Australian rugby there. Sa'ili Fiao, who's been in the Queensland squad this year. And Barry Leask, Australia's top referee. Wayne Erickson running the touch line. Scotland right on top.
Will the Scots look to move it now?
They don't have a great running midfield. Jardine is a tough tackler. He's number 12. Scott Hastings at outside centre. He's played most of his 55 tests at inside centre. But we'll see what they come up with. 29-5. Patterson. Chalmers. Jardine for the crash. Slow on the tackle. Hilton. And Hilton, number 1, did not release. Penalty for Tonga. What a great game Weir is having. This is the fellow that came into Test rugby as a 14-stone lock. He's now had 29 tests. He's 16 stone 3. Few of the Tongans are going down for the count here. Fukafuka's walking towards the sideline, and the clearance from Alisi Vunipola. He was very close to scoring David Hilton, but he didn't release to the satisfaction of referee Leask. Damien Cronin. He's been in and out of Scotland teams for 7 years. The same applies to Weir in many respects. Peters, Wainwright. Good jump by Losay. 6 is Afiaki. Nafe Tufui. Craig Joyner. Gavin Hastings. There it goes. A 50-50 ball, claimed well by Hilton. It's there for Patterson. Otai was onto him. 22-metre line. Tufui. Tuipolotu. Fenukitau. Losay. Here's Tonga's best run for a while. Fukafuka. Well hit by Peters. Tufui, Alisi, Latu, Vainuku. This is Fiao Vunipola. And it was out. Referee signals play on. Peters, Patterson, Hastings, and Hastings taken out. Kicked away by Alisi Vunipola. The penalty is for the late tackle on Gavin Hastings.
Well, such a pity for Tonga. They were doing so well there. There was just a little bit of their old spark, which they had against the French for most of that game against France, but we've seen so little of in this game. But they looked so good when they were able to split open and move the ball wide. But a late tackle on Gavin Hastings, which we'll see here as he looks to kick the ball forward. Again, looking for good field position rather than looking to move the ball. And the captain, Mana Otai, with a shoulder charge. Again, lack of concentration, some ill discipline. It's been such a feature of the Tongan effort tonight, and it's cost them very dearly.
Well, I suppose because he was involved more than ever, Hastings would like to put this one through. It's not good to see the Tongan captain involved in that. So 12 minutes to go in the game. 29-5. Hastings kicking for his perhaps 8th penalty goal. It's across the front. I'm sorry, his 9th penalty that would have been. There's Richie Dixon to the right and Douglas Morgan, the Scottish coaching staff. Well, was that kicked properly? Patterson has had an outstanding game. The little halfback who had just one cap and then was dumped. Cronin, Patterson again from right. Chalmers, Jardine, Scott Hastings, Gavin Hastings! What a try! What a brilliant try! And there's trouble happening behind the goal line. This is Unua Vainuku, no, Tavita Vainuku. And the two brothers are arguing with the referee, and they may be in a bit of trouble. Gavin Hastings is in the lead as the try scorer in Rugby World Cup for this tournament. His brother gave him the last pass, and he's, look at this, all grit, determination, and he's the score is made for Hastings, and somebody got punched afterwards, and I think it was Hastings.
Well, it's just interesting to watch number 11, Tavita Vainuku here, just inside, Hastings outside. Scotland didn't miss anybody, they just simply passed it through the chain out to Gavin Hastings, and he was outside Tavita Vainuku. Tonga just simply didn't have the numbers in defence. Nobody was missed by Scotland, there was no cutbacks to create any space. Gavin Hastings was just simply outside in free space with a straight run to the try line.
The Tongan team have lost it, I'm afraid. The two brothers there were arguing and fighting behind the goal line. I think we might see a penalty back at halfway when the game resumes, because that's what can happen if there's an offence involving foul play after a try is scored. Meantime, Hastings trying to convert his own try. He has 29 points so far. Let's watch the referee to see if it's going to be a penalty. Yes, referee running to the halfway mark has signalled a penalty for Scotland for precisely the reasons I've outlined. Hastings, Tavita Vainuku falls over. Well, he might have tripped against Scott Hastings' boot.
I think Gavin Hastings had gone past him anyway. He had to make the decision whether to come in and try and stop the move on Scott Hastings or stay out and mark Gavin Hastings. He decided to come in, didn't take anybody. Good pass from Scott Hastings to his brother Gavin, who then had a free run to the line.
Well, the Tongan management team, the manager to the left, the coach to the right, are far from happy. But I think this is heading for a bit of a disgrace for Tonga. The king of Tonga, before the World Cup started, was complaining that the Tongan team weren't winning enough games, and maybe that meant that they tried to play harder, but they've lost it at the moment in terms of control and discipline. And Gavin Hastings from the halfway spot to try and make it 37-5. It's hit the post again and deflected away. He's going to be perhaps denied that world record of penalty goals in a test. 34-5, still 8 minutes to play. Gavin Hastings, 63 points in 2 games. What's the story with the Tongan team? Tafui's going to take the drop out. Patterson, who's weathered the big storms so superbly tonight. And that's a very good kick. He touched the touchline, and it's out. Alaska Taufa, he skidded back and hit the touchline. And Scotland will be in here to try to hammer home and make that winning margin bigger.
Well, it's almost a certainty that they'll win the line-out.
Cronin, Hilton #1 supporting him. 7 minutes to play. Cronin, Milne, that Scottish pack has worked very hard. Accidentally offside. Well, a big crowd here tonight is back to Tonga all the way, but I think they've backed the wrong team, Jock.
Yes, it's been a long evening for Tonga, and they have been guilty of a lot of indiscretions, ill discipline, and too many mistakes, particularly in their own quarter, which of course has given Gavin Hastings all these points. I think they'll be disappointed with their performance. It's so difficult at this level. Their last test match was only a few days ago, and they had to lift themselves back up, and the question was, were they capable of doing so?
Tafui's kick going to Logan. Scotland's star winger Ken Logan's hardly seen any ball out there.
I think he got a fright then.
It went out his direction. Touch judge has his flag out. Wayne Erickson and Barry Leask, 2 Australians. Well, Fia Vunipola.
Well, we've been a little bit critical of the Scottish effort in terms of playing a conservative type of game, but it has been effective for them. They have played to their strength, they've looked for field position, and they've done it well.
Fia Vunipola is cautioned. The game goes on. Scott Hastings, the hard man at centre, takes the tackle. Patterson. Morrison. Damien Cronin still in possession.
So much the Scottish style, looking to move it into the midfield with Jardine and Hastings, taking it out hard, taking it up straight, and then just getting their forward pack around them and taking it forward. That was just simply going back to the earlier incident involving Logan with a kick from Tonga going forward.
In fact, that was the second stumping for this man, Mani Fiavulu-Pola, but he was given a caution second time. I'm not sure whether that shouldn't have been a sending off, but both touch judges reported it. Here's a chase now behind the line, and it's a try for Scott Hastings. I have never heard such language coming from a team directed at the referee. Scott Hastings has scored the try. 39-5. Well, that was a hairline decision for the referee as the players dived for the ball. The Tongans objected furiously to the awarding of the try. Let's look again, see how we go in the replay. Uenoi Buenoko and Scott Hastings.
We look at a different angle. We see that Jardine kicks it forward and he's chasing it along with Scott Hastings. I think the downward pressure came from the Tongan player, and perhaps Tonga were unlucky.
Converted by Gavin Hastings to give him 31 points for the game. It's 41 points to 5. Hastings 65 points for the tournament so far. 44 plus 31.
Another flag.
The referee wants it broken up again. There's a touch judge report to come, and Wayne Erickson is called in again. New player on the field, Paul Burnell. .75 points, in fact, for Gavin Hastings in the tournament. Another penalty against Tonga for a shoulder charge. Kicked away by Chalmers. Just a minute to go. 41-5. And let's look at this again.
Well, that's the try, a replay of the try to Scott Hastings. Again, it looks marginal. I don't think referees should give tries unless they're totally satisfied it's been scored.
So Paul Burnell is on the field for the last minute of this fiery game. And the Scots have come through the Tongan physical approach very well, given as good as they've got. Tuipulotu bringing it back from deep in his own territory. Lost by Fenukitau. Scott Hastings on the advantage. Alisi Vunipola. We're very near the end of the game now. and the two fullbacks have collided. Assistant coach of the Tongan team. You may hear more echoes of this after this game. $31 points to Gavin Hastings in this game. 8 penalty goals, a try and a conversion. Plus the 44 against Ivory Coast means he scored 75 in 2 games. As 40 minutes ticks over. Tonga losing by 38-10 to France and 41-5 here. Jim Telfer there watching, former British Isles and Scottish international, one of their most famous players.
I'm sure he'll be satisfied with the Scottish effort. As we've said many times, it hasn't been a very expensive effort on their part, but it's been very solid based on their forward play. And I think the Scottish forwards have frustrated the Tongan forwards, and that's led to the ill discipline. Tonga really hasn't been able to get into this game because it hasn't had the ball, and what ball it has been able to get hasn't been able to create any second or third phase ball, which is so important to them.
Patterson, Chalmers, Peters, Latu number 12. The Scots are really barreling in now, and Awhiaki pulling them down, must be getting very near the end. Well, the Scottish team management picked the team to play this game. They picked the tough guys in midfield, Jardine and Scott Hastings, and Derek Patterson at half back, and a tough forward pack. And they've done the job for Scotland.
Jaco.
Otai.
Man, Rugby veld kom nie hoor. Moet jy van jou manne praat om wakker wees nou.
And perhaps the last run of the game now. Inoki Awhiaki.
Johan.
And it's over.
Johan.
It's over, and Scotland are deserving winners, 41-5. Their flags are waving. Gavin Hastings thanks the referee. And in the rugby tradition, handshakes all round. But this one was a tough and bruising game. And the Tongans have lost it through ill discipline. Final score 41-5.